Coffee? No. Rooiboos, please.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your host with the most, and today, as always, we bring the best of the best. I have a young lady by the name of Mantala Nkoatse. She's an author, she's a poet, she's a performer, artist, and she worked with some famous names in the arts industry. She had staged with famous names in the country. She worked at Alex FM. She published a book of over 30 poems. And some of her work has recently been adopted to the Indonesian school syllabus. It's amazing. Our guest for today. Hi.
Hello, hi. Hello. How you doing, people? Thank you so much. I'm enjoying the breakfast.
Yes. So hopefully you're gonna have these are biscuits here.
Eat some more.
Yes.
And
yes.
I will eat some more because I love eating.
So yeah, let's talk about your work that has been adopted in Indonesia. It's the letter to my daughter.
Yeah, an autumn letter to my daughters.
Tell us about that letter. I mean, what inspired the writing?
Okay.
And what are you addressing? Like, because there's so much. Like, when I read it, it's like you're warning women against men, and also against other women. I don't know.
Yes,
that's my interpretation.
That's how it is. But I'm also So that's that you interpreted it right? Sounding like right. So what was I going through? I had realized that most daughters don't have a proper relationship with their mothers, and it's a mess because usually mothers and daughters ought to have a relationship, because as women we go through things that we need to be guided on. Like, nobody teaches. There's no manual to motherhood. There's no manual to womanhood. But there are some things that if you were to be guided, you wouldn't go through a certain path.
Yeah.
You know, and it's really hard being a woman. Like, I was going through a phase in which, for me, like, I woke up and I was like, oh Lord, tell me how I'm supposed to be a woman in a world filled with men. Because in this industry you get to a point where you know you've got potential. You meet people, they know you've got potential, but they want to have sex with you to give you certain positions, or they want to make you feel like you have seduced them when you didn't, you know. So they perceive you as a sex object. And there are also women in the same industry who, instead of protecting you, they will be with those men. And so you are gradually being victimized, but you always have to see yourself as a victor instead of a victim. And not just in the industry, but also I look at my niece and I think to myself, is she going to go through the same things I went through? And how then will I know if she is already going through the things that I went through? Because as a woman, age does not really matter. You, as a teenager, you are able to go through things that a 50 years old woman is going through, because there are stuff like abduction, whereby some children are forced to marry. You know, there are stories like, you know, whereby women are selling their children to men, and prostitution. You know, prostitution in terms of in the township, né? You find that I am a mother and I have a daughter, and I will tell my daughter that kwamele ayojola ukuthi sizokwazi ukudla la ekhaya. That on its own is prostitution, but maybe the mother, it does not see it as prostitution, but it is. So as a girl child, you have to go through all of these. Like, you have men that are against you, that are constantly perceiving you as a sex object or objectifying you, And feminism is a myth in the township. Patriarchy is real. Misogynists are promoted. Perpetrators are promoted. And when you are just there, all of these things, they are like throwing themselves onto you. And whenever you stand up and you say, hey, you are victimizing me, it's like you whatever, or you are wrong for speaking out, you know? So that's what was going on.
So I feel like your work is addressing social issues. So what does art basically, or poetry, mean to you?
It's a healer. Poetry is a healer to me. So like this lady posed a question to me, and she's like, you must ask yourself, Uguti, this thing that you are doing, that you are claiming, Uguti, you love with everything that you are, is it a purpose or a passion? And I was like, what's the difference? Because I used to think passion and purpose are the same things. And then she broke it down to me, Uguti. Passion comes with object referral. So when you are passionate about something, you do it to fulfill yourself. But when it's your purpose, you do it with an understanding, Uguti, you are not doing it for yourself.
Wow.
You are doing it for yourself to fulfill the vessel that you are created to be, but you're not doing it for yourself. It's like Jesus, like the purpose of Jesus. He was not doing it for himself.
Yeah.
But his passion was words, and that's why he could get angry. So where there's passion, there are emotions like anger, like frustrations, like exhaustion, like, you know, the excitement and all of that. But where there's purpose, emotions don't exist, because you are just,
this is who you are.
you know. My purpose is to heal using art. It may be visual. I'm not a visual artist, but I know that there are some people that have touched my life or have healed me through visual art while I was healing them, or while they were thinking I was healing them. So poetry is presented itself to me as a lover, and I got obsessed trying to love this lover beyond. Actually, not to love. I wanted to rata. I wanted to ranza this love beyond, and in the process of wanting to ranza this love, and I call poetry love because it is love to me, beyond, I found myself passionate about it, you know. And then in the process of passion, I had realized that it's not just passion, it's a healer, and healing is a purpose. It's my purpose. I am meant for that. No matter, like, that's why ke khona ho tswela pele ka yona, and I can't get to a point where I'm like, I'm tired. I can't get to a point where I'm like, I'm done. I can't be done with it. The only time I will be done with it is when the Lord is done with me and I'm out of this world. Maybe I'm born as a cow in Indonesia or something. You know? So yeah. Did I answer your question?
Yes, I think you did. Wonderful.
Okay.
So let's talk about the work that you do every Wednesday. Please tell us about how it came about.
Okay.
And then, when then the purpose behind. Yeah, like how did it come about?
Okay, so in the middle.
Anyhow.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Mantala, I was supposed to be Mantala wa Maje, but because of Home Affairs horror, ke Mantala Nkoatse. So ngwalinya nawo amotokwa. From the age of 7, she had been an artist. Actually, from when I was a child, I've been an artist. And then from the age of 7, I started doing acting and. So to cut the long story short, when I was 18, my orange Israel Makwe,
yes,
who happens to be my father in the arts. I have a lot of fathers. He's one of them. Yes, he there was the Nonali audition study Vagina Girl Market Theatre, so he took us there. Vagina Girls. for my cat theater. So he took us there, and then we went, and Harifitamo needed a monologue, and I read this monologue, and I blew the Ajikuti mind. You know, it's that moment where someone, it's like, I know this letter, but I see this person reading the letter, and even when it's finished, I think it's not finished, because I think that's how vexed I made the Ajikuti being. So they then liked it, and they wanted me to be a part of the monologues, like the performing thing. But unfortunately, I was in matric at that time, so they said to me they will need a lot of my attention, and in matric it's not gonna work, because you know, when you're in matric, you need to study.
Matric is demanding.
Yes, so they asked me if I can be one of the South Africa, because the Vagina Girls is a global movement of girl activism that raises issues that are meaningful to women across the world, and we try find solutions to those issues. So they asked me if I can be part of the South African executive, the Vagina Girls, and I was excited. I was ecstatic. I was like, yeah. And
in matric.
Yeah, I was 18 that time. So they had a workshop. I went. I met amazing people, you know, and I was part of the movement. And that's when my activism self grew then. And that's when I started being active with the kids clinic that are based for police station. I used to be their client back in primary, in my 13 years and 14 years, 1.5 years. And then later on, when I was in, you know, like grade 12, I was helping out with their victims doing art therapy. So, but it was through the help of the Vagina Girls. So we had dialogues, kids clinic in partnership with Brothers for Life, and we were, so Brothers for Life, obviously they are talking about issues that are meaningful to men, and the Vagina Girls, issues that are meaningful to women. So got 16 days of activism that year, 2011. We started our thing, which we called 16 days of activism against human violation, because it's not just women that are violated, there are men who are also violated, and they also need to be heard, they also need to be healed. So that's where it all started, right? But before that, I used to do the session on my birthday, because people would say, hey, Arna Chalet, then I'd be the present. Like, I'd have open mind free sessions, thing, you know. My friend Linda would bring speaker, my other friend, like, he would bring Mikey, and the other one would bring Lighty, and would have a session, and dancers would come, like, you know, basically how you see Lentula Boraro, but it used to be annually on my birthdays. So we had a rising and Alex, you know, and all of that. And then 2012, now I was 19. Oh no, 2011, the same year, I wanted to do I wanted to donate clothes. Me and my friends had a lot of clothes and a lot of things that we wanted to give away. But I wanted it to be special. I wanted it to incorporate with the sessions that I'm usually doing on my birthday. So I went to Alex FM, because I've been a friend of Alex FM from when I was 16 actually. So I went to Alex FM and I wanted to do this, and Trinity Mutlamme then said, come meet our marketing manager, Kushu Koloti. And then I presented the idea to Kushu Kamulo. I had no paper whatsoever. She was like, please come back on Monday. And that Monday, the Friday was my birthday. And the Friday was the 5th, I think, when we were getting our results, matric results and stuff, and the Saturday was my birthday, and that's when I wanted the thing to happen then. And she was like, no, but we having Alex Give Us Day, you can collaborate. And it sounded great to me. And she was like, you have greater ideas even, you know, so we would really love for you to be on board. And then fine. She was like, come back Monday, uze uli presentable. And so I thought maybe I'm gonna shapa those slide things, you know, like give a presentation of this. And then I went, Akifita, she was like, there's your desk. You are our intern, our marketing assistant. And I was like, what? Just like that. Now I thought I was going to present my idea again, and then no, I was an intern at SFM. Right. So then I saw an opportunity to make these dialogues and these sessions grow. And then Trinity saw my passion, and then he introduced me to Modise Black Dice, who is the creative director of Negritude Republic. Currently, they having, see the art fairs, ne? He's the guy behind that, working with more flavor and. So when he introduced me to him, I was like, what am I supposed? He's like, I need you to help this guy. I'm thinking, help him with what? Because this guy knows more than I do.
Absolutely, I'm just an intern from Metric.
You know, like, I don't know anything. Like, this guy knows so much. He should be the one who's helping me. And at that time, Modise is coming and he's like, I want you to help me. I'm like, and I'm thinking, guys, like, help with what? But I'm not telling them. I'm just thinking in my head. And that time, my confidence, my self-esteem was very low. It was the lowest. But I mean, obviously people could not tell because I'd hide it with my hairstyles and my clothes, you know. And then Modise was like, we'll use this venue in Engi. And then now sitting here, I'm realizing what they meant by help. I would help with the venue because obviously Kibaraka ko LXFM and I have the resources, you know, and it would be easy to ask Father Kane, you know, to give us the venue. It would be easy for me to get some stuff from LXFM to the space. So we started off with the unplugged sessions. And the unplugged sessions were basically what is happening on Boraro, but in a more intimate, unplugged. Artists would flood in the space and talk about meaningful, intellectual, creative stuff, you know, unplugged. And then from there on, Modise then introduced me to people like Boneti, Bobanele Matebele, the filmmaker, Franco, you know, junk music. I don't know if you know Tribe Franco.
He was on TV, I think.
Yes, what Tribe Franco, you know, and we created an initiative called the Creative Culture. And from the Creative Culture, we started off go to Tsumani, I think, and then we were go 7 and would meet for wine. I wasn't drinking. I'm drinking rooiboos at that time, and we'd meet for wine and intellectual documentaries. You know, they'd introduce us to people like Jean Bissett, Michael Picasso, and the filmmakers would then introduce us to stuff. Like as a writer, I think as a filmmaker, I think as a musician like Tribe Franco, I think as Modise, the graphic designer, I think, you know, and Modise vice versa. A filmmaker would think as Mantala, the poet, you know, like would just be in the space whereby we are sharing knowledge, and talking about things that are meaningful to us and thinking, how are we to bring the solution? Okay, talking is not enough. Let's not sell talk shop and you know. And then I happened, like I always do. Ishashalazi came and I went for the auditions. I didn't want to go, but this girl, Oneli Nomsako Yizu, was my director at that time. And she was like, no, you must go. And I went, and they liked my poem, which is a debut from the book Psychological Cripple. But at that time, Psychological Cripple was in existence. I had never thought that I would have a book titled. So that was 2013 then. And then I went for the auditions, and I was one of the 10 poets that were selected who started off with the program, Poetry Ishashalaz. So I left. I was in Mpumalanga for some time. I couldn't make it to the sessions, and when I came back, the guys were happy, like, oh, how was it? And But life happens, we grow, we go, you know. But Mina, my passion for these dialogues and these arts that is healing for people grew even bigger. So I then started having these sessions once in a while, and I would offer emotional intelligence sessions, because I believe that most of our social disorders are caused by emotions, and people do not know their emotions. People are not aligned, people are not emotionally intelligent, most people. So that's why I would offer those, also utilizing art. And then at some point Mudisa was there, who'd help, and then I disappeared, he disappeared, we disappeared. And then I'd have people like Advocate Raboshaka coming in to address people when we were having a dialogue on, you know, freedom, internal freedom versus external freedom, which is mostly perceived as political freedom. You know, and yeah, it grew like that. And I'd have people like Bokal Food, who would always be there supporting. You know, I remember I had a flash mob 2015. So every year, 2014 I had, because 2014, that's when Psychological Cripple was published. And I had to think of ways to promote Psychological Cripple. So obviously I had those sessions, but they were like, I had them go Kids Clinic. I had a movement called Poetry in Motion, in which the social workers go Kids Clinic would give me their clients, no, this one art will help, the talking will not help, art. So I'd have those, and they'd be very intimate for specific people. And most of my clients at that time were kids and teenagers, because obviously Kids Clinic. And then 2015 we had a flash mob, you know, a poetic flash mob, and it was anti-xenophobic. Basically it was touching based on most of the social disorders, and looking at how most people at that time that I knew were committing suicide or mentally suicidal, and you know, just trying to put the word out there. And I had the vision of doing this art Kostra thing, but it was not executed the way. But people like Julius came, the guy. No. Julius said that let's also events and let's also projects and productions. If you haven't met him, Help an Artist, you will meet him. He's got this movement that he's pushing, #Help an Artist. So yeah, this thing had been going on, and then
it's from far.
It's from far, like coming to think of it, you know. But it was not called Lintula Boraru, it was called a lot of things. And I thought to myself, maybe people are not buying poetry because they think that poetry is something that is meant for certain people who, and it's meant to be said in a certain tone, you know, it is only meant for certain spaces, you know, so it's something that is limited. People probably think that it's limited, that's why they're limiting themselves to it.
So tell us, like, before you published the journey of putting a book together, how was it? And then who did you walk the journey with?
Oh man, I'm so blessed. I'm so blessed. My psychological cripple, my firstborn baby. I'm so blessed because she happened through Barbara Mhangami, the woman who's married to the Rwanda family. She's based in the US, born in Zimbabwe. We met via the Vagina Girls. She was an African coordinator at the time. And I think Juliet, yeah, her name is Juliet, told her about me while she was in America. So Barbara knew about me even more before she came to South Africa.
Wow.
So when she came to South Africa, she was like, "You must be Mantala." And I was like, "Yeah, I am Mantala," because she had been following my work, like how I've been rising in the township and the works that I've been doing in the township, and we just connect. And at that time I wanted to publish a book, but I did the title of the book was going to be Loud Silence. Loud silence.
Wow.
Because silence can be loud, right? And I was going through a phase whereby I'm mostly in silent spaces, but the silence like doo, and then it sounds too loud. You know, and then Everson Luhanga, which was a journalist in Daily Sun, was the editor editing the book. And then Wisani Jambo was supposed to be the publisher. But the material, guys, I won't lie, it wasn't proper. But the book was proper, you know, and and the cover was not as proper as this one, the final one as well. But the people that, you know, were working with me, they were proper, and they gave me hope, you know, they gave me faith that this thing is happening. But I was looking forward to publishing 10 poems, and I only had 10 poems in that book. Then Barbara came and I showed her, like, you know, a sample, and she was like, no, I can take you to better heights, baby. But that's not how she said it exactly, but you know, in my Mulomo, that's what she said. She was like, I can take you to greater heights, better heights. Let's meet in Verts this Monday. And we met in Verts, and we met for coffee with the other ladies, you know, Cecile and all of them. And then she said, I want to come to Alex. And for me, that was like, wow, because, you know, I've been working with these ladies, and none of them wanted to come to Alex because they perceive Alex as a notorious township. Hey, you know. So someone from America is here, and she's like, I want to come to Alex for me. That's a big deal. Yeah.
So are you gonna share with us one of the poems?
Okay. So this poem is a debut poem from the book Psychological Cripple, and it's titled Emotional Me in the book, but the original title is Emotional Creature, which was derived from the Vagina Monologues. It happened to be one of my favorite books at that time. That was my favorite book. It was a book that I was reading, and it was inspired by a documentary I saw called 30 Degrees, ETV. They were talking about abduction, children who are forced into marriage. And it goes, I am an emotional creature, so invisible you cannot even see my picture. I am so invisible you see the shadow in my picture. I, we are the ones you torture. Perfect posture. We walk towards the future. They say the sky is the limit. It's not like that, a trans sky. I am married to a man unknown who's living as a sky. I'm his next wife. His last wife has just died. She just tried to be herself, no disguise. He's like, oh, my baby is a baby. Let's try. And I'm sitting there. I'm trying to show him that I do not want to be in that state. And all of a sudden he's shouting, shut up! And don't cry. A woman is a fortune. You can take her, no discount. I thought I was a virgin, but I'm losing my discount. No television for me. No more vision, no blue couch. Ouch. My life is worth some loose count. I'm 12 and he is 40. The age difference don't count. I see changes taking places. Pregnancy taking him faces. His face started changing, moving my mind into places. moving my mind into places. Moving my mind into places is moving my mind into places. No chance. I'm telling you, my life is in pace. No grace. My face is transparent like lace, so you can literally tell what I'm feeling at the moment. And if you can't, it is simply because I am an emotional creature. So invisible, you cannot even see my picture. I am so invisible. You see the shadow in my picture. I and I, we are the ones you torture. Perfect posture, we walk towards the future. Ndipreki, ndiyeka isikolo, impilo indibonisa umhlolo. Le ndoda igcwele ngomdlalo, isikhalo njalo umjolo. Akasambheki, udate izolo. Ithi ngxese, uphinde uthi uxolo. Ndalinda kwabuhlungu idolo. Impilo andiyithandi. Angimindi, ndiphila blind mama. Ungandilandi, ungandinqandi, ndithanda iphandi. Nomhlaba ngiyawusaba. Kubuhlungu uma ndikhuphuka intaba. Kulo mhlaba ngiphila ngokusaba, umhlaba uyahlaba. Wandiyenza igurhumba, ndaqumba. Manje sengiyadumba. Uwe bengukhomba wahamba, ngasala ngilamba. My life is a mess. Hopeless, I'm even dreamless, mama. Shameless, I feel pain nothando useless. I feel homeless, harmless. My angels are hopeless. If I was harmless, the greatest, they were gonna be painless. Yes. I am an emotional creature. So invisible, you cannot even see my picture. I am so invisible, you see the shadow in my picture. I and I, we are the ones you torture. I and I, we are the ones you traumatize. I and I, we are the ones you colonize. I and I, we are the ones you patronize. Perfect posture, we walk towards the future. No matter Rooiboos.
Wow.
Thank you.
Wow.
So that's
Wow.
the poem.
Wow.
So that's the poem. You know how the title came about, actually,
Yeah.
Psychological Cripple. I remember the book was supposed to be Loud Silence, right? And then Everson Luhanga reads this and he's like, but Mantala, why don't you title this book Psychological Cripple? Because it resonates with both men and women. Because there's a poem titled Psychological Cripple in the book. And the poem talks about, yes please, refill, Rooiboos, refill. So the poem talks about, like, you know, how I'd wake up to apply makeup and then remove it in the same time because I'm tired of living a lie, you know. And he was like, no, this poem is not for women, Fela, it's for people. How about, and the title is also catchy, Psychological Cripple. If I'm just a person and I see this psychological cripple, I want to read this. Like, what is this about? Psychological cripple? You know?
Can I be psychologically
Can I
crippled?
be psychologically crippled? Am I psychologically crippled? What is a psychological cripple? So I was like, right, fine. The title's gonna be Psychological Cripple, and the illustration, like the cover, Yabuka, the publisher Kennedy Mundimboro. Guys, I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. Kennedy, he sent me multiple illustrations, and he was like, choose whichever one that you would like for it to be your cover. And this one, I think it's his artwork. I think caps lock in bold, highlighted in the brightest color, no, in the darkest color. I think it's his artwork. So I saw this and I was like, this one talks to me. And he's like, okay, don't jump the gun, let me show you more. And I was just like, no,
That one.
this one is psychological cripple. This one is psychological cripple. So that's how it came, that's how it happened. Psychological cripple blessed me, guys. It gave me a newspaper article on Citizen. I never thought. Citizen, second page, full page, 1.5 page newspaper. I never thought. Psychological cripple put me on the map because it was sold internationally. There was a theater practitioner who came from Philippines, and he bought like 6 books, and obviously the books are in Philippine because it's from Philippines, right? The book, obviously, because it's published in the UK. I mean, hello, Barbara, because she's in the US, she sold some books in the US. Tenjiwe, at that time, she was traveling to Nigeria because of the V-Girls we were big on this Bring Back Our Girls campaign. So she was going there for that, and she took some books with her to sell for me there. The book actually made me, it broke me. I died because I was just a child and I didn't know much, and people came and they made promises and they said they were going to sell, and they disappeared with some books, and there's just a whole lot of things. But I'm glad it happened because now I am able to advise other authors who are my and the initial idea was that I wanted my friends to be inspired to publish, because most of them were just writers who were not performing nor publishing, and their stories, their poems would heal the world. It's something that people should be listening to. So I created a lot of grammar and so informal. Like, if you check my work, I'm a very informal person. It wasn't like, so there's some Sotital there, there's some Kosanyana there, so that's the journey of the book. That's how it came about. That's what it did to me. I had some visual artists who also they did something psychological. Well, they featured a poem from the book titled internally naked, like internally naked. Mapuna puna kamuhari.
Wow, that's so. How can you be internally naked?
Because you are naked internally, but you always want to dress yourself up with things and people, and how people build homes and people.
Yes.
That's like dressing yourself up, but you are literally naked. I mean, imagine, is your mind dressed up? No, but you dress it up with all this ego. So we, as psychological cripples, we find ourselves trying to reach points that we don't know of, and that's us putting material, like comparing material with the people that we are, and those are two things that you can't compare.
Wow. Awesome.
Yeah.
Wow. So thank you so much. I think we covered all aspects of your life and your activism. Your book, Nizula Wararo.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
Thank you for having a cup of rooiboos with us.
Yes, and the imunati, as we are eating more, eat some more,
and having pure conversation, pure inspiration. Mantala Nkoatse. That was our episode of Over Cup of Rooiboos with our guest Mantala, who's doing so much. Make sure that you check some of the videos on Nizula Wararo on Facebook. And if you're near, please pop in, come Kalawararo and see what's going on. Thank you so much, guys.
Bye. Thank you. Have a rooiboos yourself.
Coffee? No. Rooibos, please.